guest. His name is William Bissett. William is a financial advisor, but he's a little bit more than that. I did a little poking around on the internet, and he's got a podcast that is really cool. He's interviewed well over 160-something small business people, so he gets it. Yeah. He gets what it's all about. Yeah. William, thank you, my friend, for being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Wait, you see how William gets this grand clapping after 11 years. All I got is a whistle.
I never got anything. Hold on here.
Okay. Enjoy that, William. Most people don't get that applause.
I gave him something as I walked in.
I thought I saw him slipping a 20. I wasn't sure.
So William, you are the founder and or operator of Portus. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, Portus Wealth Advisors.
Portus Wealth Advisors. And William, how did we meet? Because this is the first time we've met. So how did you get luckily to be on the show and get that applause from Wilton? How'd that happen?
Julie, who you were wonderfully singing praises of earlier, reached out.
Well, you understand, Julie's been with me over 9.5 years, and everybody needs a Julie.
Julie's amazing.
And so somehow you and Julie caught up with each other.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's fun to be here.
Your office is at South Park.
Yeah, we're in South Park.
So this was a hefty little drive for you.
Charlotte's growing as a city, which means traffic grows too, right?
Yeah. So we appreciate you driving. So where do we start? Now, you don't got to go back to 1962, you understand. But kind of give me a background, because you didn't wake up on a Tuesday and decide, hey, I think I want to be a financial planner. Or did you?
So I'm going to go back to 1956 really quick.
I was going to say, do it.
When he ran the 400 miles.
The 4-minute mile. That's right.
I have a guy in my neighborhood who's got a license plate on the back of his car that says 4-minute mile.
Nice.
Yeah. He's one of the 1,700 in the world.
Yeah. Well, he has at least a mindset. I'd love to talk to him.
So
there we go.
He's an awesome dude. Very, very good guy. And that's the ultimate mic drop, right? Yeah. You just put that on your license plate. Yeah.
People know what it is. I love it.
So graduated from NC State, went and sold life insurance for a couple of years. Quickly learned I hated selling life insurance. Everybody needs it, right? Just wasn't for me. Jumped ship, ended up with a financial planning firm in Columbia, Maryland from 2005 to 2015. Had a kid. In 2011, my wife and I decided we did not want to be in downtown Baltimore anymore. It turns out that the helicopters that fly overhead at 10:30 at night in downtown Baltimore are not tourist helicopters. They are police helicopters. So we wanted out of the city. We moved down here where my wife's family lives. We've been down here since 2011. I started my own wealth management firm in 2019 as we really kind of found out that small business owners were more and more our subset of folks that we were working with, and the firm that I was with before, it just wasn't the right alignment anymore. So long winding road from 2005 to 2019 of starting the own firm.
So walk me through how you start a financial firm from scratch, because that's got to be like scary. That's a heavy load, right? You start with zero, right? And you go out and look for clients. So walk me through the startup in your mindset at that point.
Yeah, so when I left the firm that I was with from 2005 to 2015, I had a 2-year non-compete agreement. So to your point, we go from 104 clients that I was working with back down to zero.
Right.
And I was fortunate. So I had a software as a service company that I tried to get off the ground in 2012. And as I was going through that process, I actually joined a Vistage group here in town. And the firm that I was with previously had $1 million minimum. You had to have $1 million in assets for us to become a client. Most business owners don't have $1 million because they are constantly reinvesting.
That's right.
Their business, right?
That's right. If we get 150 grand or so, it goes back into another unit, another operation, another staff. Yeah,
exactly. So when I left that firm I was with in 2015, I had a natural kind of network of folks that wanted to become clients but couldn't become clients from where I was in the beginning. So we just started building up from there. Fortunately, one by one, I had a very supportive wife. We all need to mention those that are behind us, right?
Amen, buddy. Amen.
Anyways, so she was very supportive.
Everybody needs a Julie.
Yeah, everybody needs a Julie. Sometimes we all need multiple Julies.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right.
So build her up one by one. She was still working, and got to the point where it was easy to to make that jump in 2019 and say, look, if it's not going to work here, then you need something to work for you and I need something to work for me. We split on happy terms. We still talk from time to time. And, I'm off running my own business and we've grown it to 5 employees and
Nice.
continue to go forward from there.
So, how is your wealth advisory working? Are you helping them with stocks, mutual funds? What does that look like? The specifics of that?
Yeah. So again, we take a very educational approach in what we do, and what we found is that working with small business owners, again, we're typically our typical small business owner client is net income somewhere between $1 and $5 million. As we just talked about, every time they get $150,000 or $5, it's almost always reinvested back into the business.
Right.
And so they don't understand, they do that. And then the other thing is they're constantly in their business, right? It's business, business, business. So they're excellent craftsmen at what they do. But as a result of that, they've ignored everything else for the last 10, 15, 30 years, whatever it ends up being. So the financial life is kind of a mess. So we walk in the door and we start on the very basic level of educating them about what personal finance is, why their 25-year-old estate documents should probably be updated, what they're missing in their communication with their CPA, what the different types of life insurance policies they have, why they work, why they don't work. We get into the business aspect of it as well. We do some lightweight business coaching, helping them understand how the business is structured. Are they doing things the right way? Sometimes they have outdated service folks that they're using, so we try to help them bring that. So we really try to help them open up their eyes and see you've got to look more outside of your business than you're looking right now. It's been great that you've gotten it to wherever it is today,
Right.
but it's not serving you personally. You have to figure out a way to make that happen. It might be a sale. It might just be that you have to start saving. Whatever that is, it has to work for you. And so we educate them along those lines.
Is it typically hard? Because I think when you have small business owners, they want it to be everything.
Yeah.
They want to control really every part of it. So how is it? Is part of the education going, okay, yes, you keep focusing on here, but allow us and other people to help out in these additional areas? Because you said you do some business coaching as well.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the conversation you have, or how does that work?
Yeah, no. So typically our clients come to us and we always say they have something on fire,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So something's broken and somebody said, go talk to
Yep,
William,
yep.
go talk to Portus. They'll
Yes.
help you out.
Yeah.
And so once that's happened and we help them unlock what's broken, we now all of a sudden have gained trust.
Yeah.
Right. And so then it's easier to say, look, this is what you're trying to do.
Right.
This is the best way for you to do it. Let's start putting these things in place. And we have a process that we go through. It's called charting opportunities.
Right.
We're big on opportunities, as you saw on the website, right? So Portus is a subset of the old Latin word opportunity. So I believe there's opportunity everywhere you turn.
Yeah.
So our process is called charting opportunities because we want to chart opportunities for our business owner clients, right? That business should serve as a propellant for them going forward.
You know what's interesting is, and the reason I'm going to come back to this, is the athletes that come to me are the ones when I know they come to me, something's on fire.
Yeah.
It's never when it's going, or they think that's going good. It's when something comes up, or they have a big game, or whatever else. All of a sudden, like, I think I need to take care of this because I'm in trouble. And it's like, we should have probably talked 6 months or a year ago. Yeah. And I guess you're finding the same thing here, where you probably talk to clients. They're like, nah, I don't really need you. But then all of a sudden something happens. You're like, well, maybe I do. How do you bridge that gap?
The difficult thing is you can't push them
Yes.
into the trap, right?
Right.
So you've got to realize that.
You see that smile? What that means is us small business people, we stubborn.
Yeah.
We got to stumble,
Right.
Get bumped a little bit, and then we're willing to listen to you. Let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll talk more about that. Julie's got that on your website on Facebook as well. You're listening to Local Biz Now. We'll be right back.
We'll return to more.
I want to come back to that when we get back on.
Yeah, the fire piece.
Yeah, because I think it's always fascinating. It's like, no, everything seems fine, but until something comes up, oh, wait, now I know I need this, or it's fascinating.
It is.
You have to give them their independence.
Yeah.
At the same time, and allow them to grow. And there's a delicate balance. I think that's.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. So, and I mean, shoot, you know this with your athletes, right? And you know it from business owners trying to sell business. Everybody's pace is different,
Yes.
right? Like you can't dictate. God knows we have our charting opportunities process, but we can't dictate that process on you. We have to be willing to make it interchangeable.
Right.
This part for this part, because they're going to see and they're going to want to do this. And if you say you've a business owner that's controlled their own fate for the last 20 years, you say you do it. That doesn't always work very well.
Well,
Yeah.
most small business people have succeeded as this contrarian, right? They've been doing something somebody else said you couldn't or shouldn't do, and they've succeeded, right?
Yeah.
And most of the time they've carried the water themselves, right?
Yeah.
And so when they get to a certain point, they think they know enough, right, that they don't need you. And so it's only when they finally realize they absolutely need you, right, that then you get that phone call.
Yeah.
Until then, I don't think you can convince a small business person because it's sort of this double-edged sword, right? You know, and you're trying to say, hey, listen, I get that you're a genius at this, but let me be honest with you. There's some things I can help you with, you know, and they think they know everything. You know, it's funny. Me and small business people, we laugh about it all the time, you know. Small business people, we know everything. You know, we a master of 5,000 different things. You know, we probably really good at 2.
Yeah.
Right. What do they call that? You're a jack of all trades of everything, but a master of none.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It's unless you know who you are and what you can do. This is where it comes down to like a little self-evaluation of. I can only handle this. I can't. I have to have a team. If you look at anyone, like any great athlete or business person, they do have a team of people who say, this is what I know I can do this. I'm going to allow everyone else to do it. In fact, the best ones, Tom Brady talks about this. He goes, I just learned the players so well that I knew my job and they all knew their job. And we just got good at knowing those jobs and how to work it.
So,
About 15 seconds. Last segment. Flying by.
It is flying by.
It's Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
yeah, this is Local Biz Now. We're here with William Bissett. He is the founder of Portus Wealth Advisor. William, thank you, my friend, so much. Really do appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
So, as I was doing my investigatory work on you, you understand, I went to the Google.
Yes, of course.
I noticed you had a podcast of, I think it was about 165 small business people that you had interviewed.
That's correct.
Talk about how that got started, because it sounded like something you really enjoy doing.
It is. It's a lot of fun. So, joined the Charlotte Angel Fund in 2015, which is a small group of investors that sounds like it's super rich. Commitment to join the Charlotte Angel Fund is a $25,000 or $30,000 commitment to join the fund. You go to meetings once a month. You go to those meetings, 3 companies pitch, and they go through a pitch process. The members then vote which company they want to see to go through due diligence. And if they make it through due diligence, then the fund ends up investing in them, right? So it's a very neat process. It's open. Greg Brown.
What are the size of the funds?
Charlotte Angel Fund 1, they're all somewhere between $1.5 and $3 million total in fund size.
What are the size of businesses they invest in?
So they're looking for startup style businesses, right? So they usually make somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 investment. Members can make an add-on investment to it. So the total investment from the fund might be $300,000 or $400,000. They're looking at companies that are raising money at a kind of sort of a $5 to $10 million pre-money valuation. And then just like anything else, some of them make it and some of them don't. So I was going to those meetings, and at that point in time, there were about 25 or 30 people in those meetings, and it was great for a little while until I realized that's all there was. And then with a city of 2.5 million people, I thought there should be more.
Right.
Greg Brown that runs it says nobody here understood what startups were or what angel investing was in 2015. And I said, we should start a podcast. And Greg said, yes, you are correct. You should start a podcast. So I started a podcast. We've interviewed 167, kind of a mix of founders as well as investors, to talk about what their struggles are as founders, right? Which eventually gets down to 2 things. Who is the founder, right? Because that's what everybody wants to know. And then what's the business and how does it succeed? And so if you listen to the podcast, it's 20 or 50% designated to the founder, 50% designated to the business.
Interesting.
And how they're going to grow it going forward. So love it. I mean, you talk about people that will run through brick walls. Startup founders think that they are invincible.
Absolutely.
They have to.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so it's
They will run into a brick wall or two. Yeah.
some of them will make it through, and some of them won't.
That's exactly right. Some of them got the scars to prove it, even though they made it through.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right. So, what is how can they go to that website if they want to listen to that?
So the original name of the podcast was Charlotte Angel Connection because I spun it up in about 10 days. And then we flipped that recently to speakingofstartups.com.
Nice.
So you can access it that way. We're about to turn that over to a gentleman here in town, actually up here in this area, named Matt Butler. Matt will take over episode 168 and take it from there, breathe new life into the ecosystem, and do a great job with it.
So, Julie, if you're listening, I know she is listening.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get Matt on the air. Let's
Absolutely.
let's
I always say that we're going to a video-based podcast, and Matt's much better looking than I am, and he's also funnier, so you'll enjoy having him on the show as well.
So, let's talk a little bit more about your wealth business. What is a good buyer profile look like for you? If there's some small business people out there listening, what does that look like?
Again, I mean, so where we've ended up with our niche, most of our small business owner clients that are coming to us these days have, about $1 to $5 million in net income, and they have complexity and they have issues that they're starting to become aware of that need to be addressed, and they are forming cracks in their overall system because they've ignored them for too long. And so they're starting to realize it on their own, right? So we go back to what y'all were talking about earlier, right? That ignorance and intelligence component, not arrogance and intelligence, right? So they've been arrogant enough for so long that they could be.
Right.
They're now becoming intelligent enough that, hey, wait a second, I need to address some of these issues.
It's interesting because it's kind of a superpower to have that.
Yeah.
To really go, I've been doing this for so long, and then to feel like you're letting go, to let someone else actually be a part of it. And I guess it's kind of and that's interesting to see when you have businesses. How do you bridge? And we talked about that, bridging that gap of having someone going, yes, you've done great, but for you to grow to this next level, you're gonna have to do X.
Yeah. It's tough, right? Because I mean, oftentimes it's probably a lot the same for both of y'all. It's so much of not a push from us; it's a push from a trusted person that's been through the process already and says they're going to take care of you. Yeah. It's okay to let go of the wheel to a certain extent, right? And so,
and for me, I'm turned 62 years old this year, right?
Happy birthday!
And I realize financing has changed a lot. Yeah. And what I used to know no longer applies. What I used to think no longer works, right? And I'm either going to have to learn that all over again or contact William. Yeah. Right. And so that's what happens when you get to a certain age as well. So doesn't age have something to do with this? And I'm a little tireder. I don't know that I want to study up on the finance and that sort of stuff anymore.
Next thing you know, their buddy's talking about retiring. Yeah. And they're looking at, I've got this business that's a phenomenal value. It's put my kids through college. It's done this. It's done that. And
they don't want the business, by the way.
Yeah. And they're tired of the business. And they're like, well, wait a second. I want that too.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden you put the two and two together. I've got to do something with this business.
Right.
What is it going to be?
What's like when someone starts a business? What is one of the things you think they should consider that's not thought about when they're doing a business?
Begin with the end in mind, right? No, all the time. Like you talk about startups all the time. Right. Startups know what they want to do. They want to sell and exit that business. That business is built to sell. Yeah. As a founder of a smaller business, right, you should know what the crux is. Like, how are you going to extract value out of it? Okay. Is it going to be, are you going to be able to save and create wealth outside of the business? Or is this business going to be one of those things that you build to sell? Now, it might not be the same type of sale that somebody with a startup does, but how are you going to create wealth? Because you don't have a pension plan or 401k or, right, all of that stuff is... that corporate America has, you have to create on your own. And so how are you going to, service your family in the long term?
So it's an end game. Some people get in the business, they get in business and they go, well, I didn't really think about what was going to, where I wanted to stop or what I really wanted to do with it. It was just kind of a vehicle for me to get from one to the next. But now that I'm here, I don't know what to do next. Yeah. Do you guys can help with that, with the kind of work with them, or is that part of?
We do financial independence modeling, which
Yeah.
is essentially how much money do you need outside of the business in order to not have the business anymore, right?
Gotcha.
And then how much do you currently have?
Right.
And if what you currently have doesn't satisfy, you have a wealth cap, right?
Yep.
Now the business
And
needs
I
to
send
fill
my
that.
clients to a guy like you all the time, right? And they'll come back to me and say, I need another year and a half.
Yeah.
Like, because
Exactly.
you'll say, hey, dude, you need to increase your sales by about 500 grand.
Yeah.
This way the revenue will be up, plus you're going to save more. So it is this timing thing sometimes at work. And it's interesting because years ago when I started, and most of my friends that started a business, it was not about building wealth. It was not about growing something for retirement, and it certainly wasn't about creating something that somebody could buy. It was about a lifestyle I wanted, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only when you get a little older you start to get a little grittier, saying, "Can I make something out of this?"
Yeah.
And the answer is, it takes evaluation from a guy like me, and it takes some real modeling of the numbers for a guy like you, and then together we say, here's what we're looking for. And then I'll say, I don't think the business doesn't get to that valuation.
Yeah.
There's 3 things we need to do, so it might take 2 years to get there.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, we're in great shape, and once William gets the money, he'll put it in ABC, and that's going to give you a return that's going to work for you for the rest of your life, so you don't have to work anymore.
That's right. So absolutely. So we always tell them when they come to you that they're going to sell their best investment that they ever had.
Yep.
And they're going to buy a bunch of crappy investments on Wall Street, right? But yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah.
Well, and they're really looking for this comfort and a return so they don't have to think and work, because what they have now requires them to get up in the morning, right? And actually do something.
And creates a little bit of stress along the way, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So if somebody wanted to reach you, my friend, how could they do that?
We've got contact form on the website, which is portusadvisors.com. Obviously I'm out there on LinkedIn as well. So either one of those options certainly work. My email address, most people can see it. I even think is on the website as william@portusadvisors.com. So all of those are options.
I noticed on your website, which is a great website. I really encourage people to go to it. And Julie's got that on Facebook, by the way, if you want to check that out. You define business owners and entrepreneurs separately. Explain that to me.
Yeah, it gets into the crux of kind of my background in the startup space, right? So the world has come to define startup founders as entrepreneurs and business owners as business owners. And I think there's some validity to it, right? So I do think that there are 2 different business models. They're at the end of
It's actually 2 different business people.
two different business people. They're both entrepreneurs, right? They both took a leap to create something, but the startup founder and the business owner, they're going to go about building their business in completely separate ways. And so we've just tried to differentiate that off the website.
And just so you know, this is when I got a little warm spot in my heart for you.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely believe that, right?
Yeah.
I even wrote a book on how to buy a small business, and I talk about the entrepreneur and the small business owner, right? They're both on their own, but they're 2 completely different people.
Yeah.
And you're one of the very few that actually separated that. So bravo to you, because you're right about that.
They're both crazy. They just have
That's
different
right.
flavors of crazy, right?
That's true.
One has more discipline, gets up in the morning, does the same thing. The other one can't stay on track, wants to operate 3 or 4 things at the same time. So you're absolutely on to that.
Yeah.
William, thank you so much, my friend. We really do appreciate you being here. We'll have to get you back on and dig in some more.
So Joe, next time you have me back on, lower that camera a little bit so you're not seeing so much of the baldness, and we'll be in good shape. All right.
I'll have to talk to Wilton about that. Wilton, we need a camera adjustment automation system.
So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you, William. We really do appreciate it.
Yep.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and if it's Monday afternoon, say it, Chris.
Your business matters.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville, W290.